Hey, John, just wanted to have a quick conversation with you regarding your digital advertising right now and some areas of opportunity that I think we can find just from me having the ability to work for Cox Automotive. As you know, we talk about this week after week after week, and I want to give you all the information that we possibly have to be able to make sure that your dealership is competing with everybody. And you and I have had many conversations in the past, same as I've had with other general managers, that you guys, rightfully so, in the past, competition is rising. More and more dealerships coming up through the game, and there are more and more used car lots coming up in the game. So things are happening right now, and there's a lot of competition out there. And in your mind, it may be very easy to think that you have to be the cheapest possible car in order to move that piece of inventory. And I just want to have an encouraging conversation for a second that that's not the case. I want to give you some great tools to be able to move your inventory, hold onto your gross as much as possible, and still sell just as many cars. Today's customers are just wanting a little bit more control than they've had in the past. In the digital age, they have that control now. They have something that they haven't had 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And this is our opportunity to take advantage of them. If they have control, if they want that control, we are able to serve them up everything that they're wanting. Often I speak with general managers, and they tend to seem that advertising is just about having your inventory in front of them in the right places. That if you think that if you kind of cast your net out there and have your inventory in as many places as possible, that's going to be the best option for you because your inventory is going to be visible to everybody. But the change in the culture that we're finding is that we're realizing that customers are not engaging with your inventory if it doesn't mean it. The word that we use right now is relevant. If your vehicles are not relevant to the customer, their customer is not going to engage with that piece of inventory. So it's gone from just having your inventory as wide as you can go, but taking it deeper instead of wider in that regard, and making sure it's as most relevant as possible, ensuring that you have used all the best practices that we could possibly have to be competitive in the market without just factoring in the price. So right now, it takes on average, most dealerships, and I know that you and I have had this conversation, we've looked at annual reports, it takes on average about 62 days to move your inventory. Compare that to dealerships who are doing a phenomenal job and they're moving their inventory every 45 to 48 days. That's a huge difference. That's 14 days difference, at the end of the day. And that has a huge impact on your bottom line. With your margins, you're averaging, say, $1,500 a copy. And if you keep typical stock of your 100 cars, those 14 days equal $250,000 to your bottom line. Dealerships that do a poor job and they move their metal every 65 to 68 days, we can do our best practices and get to where we need to go and take that from 60, 65, 68 day turn down to that 48-day turn that is on average. That's an additional $325,000 in sales on a yearly basis if we can maximize the amount of turn that we get and get as close to that 48-day mark as possible. So I recently spoke to a general manager, and what she did was she was taking her inventory and her oldest age inventory, and she was just slashing the price. She was cutting the prices all day long just to make sure that the price was cheaper than everybody else, and assuming that that was going to speak to the customers who are shopping today, and assuming that that was going to generate more leads and generate more business. But it got to the end of the month and it just didn't do it. The lead volume was the same, her sales were the same, and she was confused. She didn't understand what was going on. It's going back to the customers wanting that control and the customers wanting us to give them what they're looking for. At Cox Automotive, we have so much information on these customers. We kind of know already what their favorite color is, how big their family is, kind of what they're looking for. And when they're searching on AutoTrader, we're able to serve them up that information that is most relevant to them based on what we know about them and based on what information you are providing them. So when we look at this information, we want to look across the board. Are you guys completely transparent? Do you have custom comments on your vehicles, or are they just generic comments? If you have a custom comment, that makes your dealership, your piece of inventory, that much more relevant to a customer. Do you have all of the trim level information in there? Do you have the color information? Do you have adequate amount of photos listed in there? Do you have videos on there? And we're seeing that customers are more interested in watching a 15 to 20 second video right now than they are to sit there and click through 15, 25, or 30 extra pictures right now. So we're trying to get that information to you so that you can maximize that information and be able to incorporate that into your digital marketing strategy. So, and the good news is most of that information, most of that doesn't cost any more money with us. It doesn't cost any more money with third-party vendors. It takes time on your end, and it takes time to be able to invest, because third-party vendors, with the way consumers are shopping these days, it's no longer a, let me make sure my car is the cheapest and I set it and forget it. It takes time and it takes investment to be able to turn this inventory. So what if you could ensure that your dealership is set up most effectively to develop your sales around all of these opportunities? The most successful general managers are focused on how they can increase the relevancy of their listings by making sure that your listings are, like I mentioned, well merchandised, that they have good quality photos, good videos, good vehicle details, the custom comments, the pricing is competitive, not necessarily the cheapest, and you ensure that your rank is going to be higher on your search results. John, if you have a Ford F-150 and the used car lot down the street has the exact same Ford F-150, but you are more intentional with your relevant search, and you give us all those custom comments, and you have a video of the vehicle, and you have all the pictures, all of that information, your inventory is going to populate higher than that used car lot's piece of inventory, because you just put yourself in a position to become more relevant to the customer, and that's what they're looking for. They're not looking to do the work on their own. They're not looking to use 100 different filters to find out what they need. They're looking for dealerships who are going to be transparent and who are going to offer them every piece of information that they want and that they're looking for from the very first second. Coupled with that, they're looking for that transparency across all the platforms. So if they find your information on AutoTrader and they see it all filled in and you have all of those pieces of information there for them, and then they go to your website and it's the exact same story, you just became incredibly good in their eyes, in the consumer's eyes. Now here's where I can step in. Here's where AutoTrader kind of helps with that. We have proprietary tools to assess and optimize all of your inventory and all of your shoppers to make sure that you are providing relevant information to our customers. I have reports upon reports upon reports that you and I can go over on a weekly basis if you have the time to do that. And we actually look at your inventory and we score your inventory on a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being the best. Our goal is to get your inventory to a 10, making it the most relevant, making it populate higher than anybody else to get you getting more leads on a more low funnel aspect to be able to move your inventory that much quicker. And we're seeing great results in this, and have other products as well that can help with this with our spotlights and our premium listings and all that other information there. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but let's get your inventory where it needs to be on a merchandising level. I'm excited to see the results that you're going to get so that we can take you to the next step to be more competitive and hold some growth at the same time.